everybody, this is Brittany with Wagmore Dog Training. I'm here to give you a quick demo and some tips on how to muzzle condition your dog. Whether it is a pup that is uncomfortable at the vet, the groomer, or if you're trying to do some behavioral work and maybe they've got aggression or reactivity issues towards other people, dogs, animals, etc. Making sure that they feel comfortable in a muzzle is very important. It's going to help create some mental stability on their end. And I'll show you how it actually creates a positive mentality as well. It ensures the safety of everybody around you as well as the dog itself. And it ensures that if your dog needs to wear it for a long-term period of time, they're not going to harm themselves in the process of trying to get it off. Sometimes, especially with severely aggressive or reactive animals that need a couple of days to acclimate going into a training program or a high stress situation, they need to wear it for extended periods of time. If they have to wear it for a couple of days, then that means that we do not want them to be stressed and trying to take it off. If they're trying to take it off, it's rubbing on the top or underneath their muzzle, and they're going to end up with hot spots, skin irritation, scabs, and honestly, they can absolutely do some more severe damage. This is Danny. He is one of my newer board and trains. We just started working on muzzle conditioning with him this morning, so I'm going to show you how quickly they pick it up. He is with me for some reactivity issues, but his biggest issue is going to be working around other dogs. So I want to make sure he feels comfortable wearing the muzzle before I put it on him. That way he doesn't harm himself. So, number one, the muzzle. I specifically really like to use Baskerville is the brand. It is a basket style muzzle. You'll notice on the top end there is a space for their nose, and on the bottom end there is enough space for them to be able to drink, pant, all that kind of stuff. The beauty of having a basket muzzle versus a mesh or fabric muzzle is they can open their mouth enough to breathe and pant and react normally without the stress of keeping their mouth shut, and there's no concern with them being able to bite for the most part. It is completely customizable. They do have various sizes. This is size 1, so it's kind of the smallest. They do make like an extra small, but this is typically the smallest size you need. I really like it because it's the most secure muzzle that I've worked with super highly aggressive and more dangerous style situations. They do have a little bit more advanced and hardcore muzzles, but for your day-to-day pet kind of stuff, Baskerville works really, really well. Another thing to take into account if your dog is going to be wearing it for long term, I really, really like, what is that? To work with a little bit of really soft, thick yarn. And I will actually wrap it around the top part of the muzzle to make it a little bit softer, more cushioned. That way you are less likely to create irritation on the top of the nose. So he shouldn't be wearing it on a regular basis. I haven't wrapped his muzzle, but I do keep it on hand just in case. So basics of doing the muzzle conditioning. Starting day 1, I'm going to pull all of these back, and all I'm going to be teaching him is to put his face inside the muzzle. I want him to be comfortable putting it in here. Eventually, the goal is to be able to get him to do it on his own without there being some kind of incentive, but obviously we're going to start with treats to entice him into putting his nose in there. Every dog is going to be different. Sometimes I really like to use small pieces of shredded boiled chicken. It's easy to stick between your fingers so that it's harder for them to get, and then you can hold it underneath the muzzle so that they have to work a little bit harder to actually put their face in and get it. So for him, and with a lot of dogs, I am using these. Yeah, see, you like these, huh? The mini botanicals, just itty bitty little training treats. He absolutely loves them. Mom uses them anyway, so we're just gonna continue with this. All right, you ready? So I've already got some pulled out. He already knows the routine. So basically, I'm gonna take this little tiny treat and I'm gonna position the muzzle like it would go on his face. I'm going to put the treat inside, so he has to put his muzzle inside to retrieve it. I'm gonna hold it straight up, and his signal to put his face in there is gonna be me pushing it down, or me going into a horizontal position. So, Danny, I'll put it down. He automatically puts his face in, gets the treat, and I pull it back up. So, we'll repeat this. I do it a couple times a day until they become comfortable with it. Good boy. Good job. I'll praise him. He already got the treat. He's just kind of digging to see if he can get more. Praise him throughout. Good boy. Good job. But over the next couple of days, what we want is I have the treat in hand. But when I put the muzzle down, he already puts his face in it because he's looking for the reward. Good job. So I'll go back and forth with putting it up, putting it down. Good boy. He puts his face in there. I'll do it with another treat. Good boy. Good job. So you'll get to the point where when I pull the muzzle out and they see it, which is one of my other dogs, they get excited because they know it's going to be something positive. Can you sit? Well, you're not very good at sit. Never mind. That's asking a lot. Good boy. Good job. Today is day 2 with him, and this is the first time I've started, today is the first day I've started doing any muzzle conditioning. So that just shows you how easy it is with a little bit of incentive. Obviously, this should be a little bit easier when it's your own personal dog. Good boy. Eventually, after a day or so, you'll start pulling these straps forward. Beforehand, I had them all out of the way, so the muzzle was the only thing he felt. So you start pulling the straps forward. So now he's putting his face through all of it. And then, once he's comfortable with that, you can start putting it over the top of his head, taking it off. Over the top of his head, taking it off. Over the top of his head, maybe on day 3 or 4, clip it shut. And then for smaller into increasing periods of time, you are going to keep it on. And then it'll get to the point where he can start walking around the house with it. He leaves it on for maybe 3 to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, etc., until it doesn't bother him anymore. Obviously, this is not a traumatic experience. Danny, come here. Good boy. So, going over the top, he looks uncomfortable, so that's a little bit much for the first day, but that's your basics. Uncomfortable, we'll take it off. Good boy. One more. I'll do this like 7 to 10 times. Good boy. And we'll call it good. So, all done with muzzle conditioning. Might do it 2 or 3 times throughout the rest of the day. But all in all, we don't want it to be traumatic. We want it to be positive. We want it to be kind of a fun game, something interactive. And by the end of it, hypothetically about 2 weeks in, shouldn't have any kind of problems. All right. Good luck, and by all means, let me know if you have any questions. Give me a holler.